Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Yes, happy Monday morning. Welcome to Run It Back. Look at all of us in our respective homes. Shams, how's Chicago?
Chicago's amazing. I miss you guys, though. It's always better in the studio.
Lou's like, I don't. I just rolled up and came into this room. Love that. I love that.
I miss y'all too. It's all good.
We'll be back in the new year. Well, we have basketball to talk about. A lot of it, actually, which is the good news. It's the Rockets. It's the Bucks. Look, Bucks are 14-2 at home. Things are looking nice. Lillard with 39, 11, and 5 last night. Rockets, by the way, not great on the road, but that's all right. Giannis also becoming the Bucks' all-time leader in rebounds over Kareem. We don't know anything about the game ball. I'm sure that'll be a huge story when we find out. But I want to ask you guys about the ejection heard around the world. I don't know what is going on as far as Coach Ime Udoka. We know what's going on with Dillon Brooks. This is kind of his thing, but this is late in the fourth. Dillon Brooks gets pushed or he falls, doesn't like what happens here, talks about it, gets teed up, gets ejected, and then Ime comes out, helps him out. It's his second ejection over the last couple of weeks. I don't know the last time I could ever remember seeing that, but we'll start with Dillon here, Chandler. Is he right?
Well, I can't say I saw much of a flop here. I do think there was contact, right? I think he definitely got bumped on it. But I will say I heard the audio of what he was saying to this ref. And whoa, like of course he's gonna get technical. You'd be surprised if there's more of a fine or something. You can't talk to a guy like that. I'm actually surprised the ref didn't, chirp back or this led to something worse. He was absolutely saying some things that are fighting words. And listen, Dillon Brooks just had a great game, but returned from to Memphis. He started chirping after that game, saying he never wants to lose to that team again, and he's going to continue to try and beat them for the rest of his career. So, and then he's right back to normal business and getting tossed in the very next game. So I think this one, I got to get his. I think there was definitely contact. I don't think he flopped. Kind of Middleton definitely kind of pushed him out there, but you can't talk to a ref like that, dude.
Dang. Now, if your eyes are wide, now I need to know what he said, Lou. Are you all same?
Yeah, same. In a double back, I did see a clip online where they secured the game ball for Giannis. I guess it's like a thing now.
Phew.
But the game ball was secure. The team security got it and gave it to the equipment manager. So another basketball for Giannis. But yeah, with Dillon Brooks, I felt like getting called for a T on a flop, and that was just adding insult to injury. I already feel like I got pushed. This is an important possession. I'm down 6 points at this point. This can be a pivotal play, and you tee me up after I feel like I was gotten pushed. So at that point, when you're going to get teed up, you might as well get your money's worth. The money isn't going to change. The fine isn't going to change. Get your money's worth. So he did the right thing.
What about Ime Udoka? I mean, that's twice in a couple weeks, 3 weeks. Do you guys, as players, does this mean anything to you? Your coach willing to go out there and get thrown out? Lou, you first.
Yeah, in the right context. Like if he's just crashing out for me, I wouldn't respect that. But if we felt like we had a genuine fight, it's important for a coach to have your back and make sure you guys are all in solidarity. So that was good.
Yeah, I mean, look at the situation in Golden State with Draymond right now. Steve Kerr's he's not getting tossed out with him. He's talking about how he needs to change. So there's different dynamics. There's different situations. Of course, that feels good when you think your coach, your teammates agree with you and rally with you. The game was basically over once the Dillon Brooks thing happened, and Ime's protecting his guy. And again, this is a hot-headed dude who plays emotionally, and this is the situation that he gets them in. But again, I don't think if this is a close game or if they have any chance of coming back in this game with some time left, I don't think Ime does this. But I do think it feels good when the coach has your back instead of going the other way with it.
Do you guys have any examples? Like, can you remember a time when a coach at any level had your back that it stood out, or no?
Well, I remember when Carlisle took me out of the game when I got a tech at the end of the game and kind of hurt our team and our chances. So that's what I'm saying. The other way of it doesn't feel good. When you're basically punished and when you're, he kind of jumped me after the game, how you can't do that. You got to be better. You got to be, don't let that affect your game and hurt our team. So I've never really had a coach get tossed. I never got tossed, but I've never had a coach kind of get a tee after I got a tee. but I did have him kind of take me out of the game the other way. So it definitely probably would have felt better if he got my back rather than taking me out.
I've never had a coach do it for me, but Pat Bev has gotten thrown out twice when I've gotten thrown out. So
That makes
You know,
total
the first
sense.
time I got thrown out, I was in the locker room and I was taking my stuff off and I look up, he's walking in. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He said, I didn't want you sitting back here by yourself. So
That's so nice.
that was one.
That's a good teammate. I like that, by the way. Well, Lou, I have to ask you, if you had to, I don't know, give us a description of whatever the identity of this Rockets team is, because they have baby Jokic on that team and they have some young guys doing things. But if you ask me, I think Dylan Brooks and Ime Udoka getting thrown out. Is that wrong?
I don't think they have an identity crisis. I think they're trying to create one. I think they're trying to find what it is that this team is going to be labeled as and what's the reputation that they're going to have around this league. And if they were winning a few more games, this will probably be a gloss over. Like, this will probably be something that would be positively covered. But because success doesn't come with that, we're looking at them crazy. Like, y'all got to chill out because you got to win games to carry yourselves that way. And so I think that's what's going on in Houston. I think Ime Udoka wants his team to be tough. I want them to be hard-nosed. I think he's trying to create the identity where, listen, we're a young basketball team, but we're not pushovers, and we're here to compete. And like I said, when losses are piling up, you're a 500 basketball team, it's not as accepted as it is when you're a really successful basketball team. And I think that's what we're seeing with this group.
That is fair. They're looking for an identity. On the other side, you have a Bucks team that obviously has an identity, very much so. Shams, what are you seeing from Milwaukee these days?
When I was in Las Vegas for the in-season tournament, a lot of the conversation there was around the Bucks and their ability and them still trying to find themselves, because the Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard pairing on paper it's been great, and then I think overall both of those guys, they want to win and they want to learn how to win together. But it's definitely been a process. They've had a lot of conversations about how the ball finds both Dame and Giannis in their spots, especially late in games in the fourth quarter. That was a big talking point in Vegas, where if you remember down the stretch of that game against Indiana, Dame Lillard was feeling in the third quarter. The ball went away from him in the fourth. I'm told the Bucks have had multiple meetings as a team as they continue to try to learn. There's a lot of lessons that they've already been gathering, but still, even in Adrian Griffin's first season with this team, he's gone through his own learning curves as well. This team is 19-7. They're battling for that first seed in the Eastern Conference. So even though they've been through their own growing pains as a team, they're still right there, partly due to talent, partly due to them really wanting to come together as a team. I'm curious from Chandler and Lou's perspective. They've both been in those Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis roles, right? Whether you're a six-man, whether you're that number 2, number 3 option on any given night. You guys have both played that part. When you're playing along guys like Dame Lillard and Giannis, how do you manage those two egos? How do you work with those two guys? Like, how do you kind of massage that? Because we've seen both players have to deal with that.
Yeah, I think for Chris Middleton, I think we've seen it's tough, man. It's tough with your minutes inconsistent, with your role inconsistent. You know exactly when you're coming in and when you're coming out. So you can see him forcing certain shots, just knowing that his 6-minute block is coming up. And that's tough. But now you see his minutes going up to 23 minutes a game, and he's putting up to 13, 5, and 4 in those minutes. And that's only going to get better. He's only going to get more efficient. But when you play with two great guys like that, you have to understand, there's going to be nights that's yours. And even last night, Middleton hit some big shots in the fourth quarter. What he does, and when we always talk about that championship run, he was that closer. But when you look at the makeup of this team now, they're 9-0 when Damian Lillard has 30 or more points. So that they have to realize that. They have to know that's his guy. And they've had some inconsistent times, but this team is, like we just said, they're battling for the number 1 spot. They're certainly finding their form to gelling right now. They're getting healthy. They got Pat Connaughton back. Jay Crowder's going to help defensively, but their holes are on the defensive end. When you look on paper, when this trade was made, we knew offensively it was going to take some time, but it was going to be great. Just the DNA, the makeup of Giannis, how he plays, the shooting that Dame provides, with Chris Middleton getting healthy. That's not their worry. They have to clamp in. They have to lock it on the other end to really, really take that step. But these guys are gelling, and Chris Middleton's getting more healthy, and his minutes are going up.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what Chandler was saying, my position was different playing with Kawhi and a Paul George, because I was the 6th man of the year. I was coming off the bench. I wasn't starting with those guys. And so before they got to that basketball team, I was the number one option. Once they got there, that was the third option, very much like a Chris Middleton. On a lot of nights, he's going to be the number one option on a lot of basketball teams and even the team he's on. So there were nights where they gave me the basketball to go win games, even though they were in the lineup. And I think that's going to be the same thing for Chris Middleton. And I don't look at this as a problem. I look at this as a strong suit. A lot of teams are built very top heavy now. And this Milwaukee team is figuring it out. They're figuring that they got to play through Dame Lillard, and everything else follows behind, no matter what the stats are, no matter what the reputation or the accolades that anybody has. Dame Lillard is going to be the guy that we're going to give the basketball to win us basketball games. And so these guys being championship caliber already and already had that type of success, I think they just want to win another one. They don't care who really gets the credit. So I think this is a positive for a Chris Middleton type of guy.
And honestly,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And honestly, the way that they're going to have to guard Giannis and Dame in pick and rolls, the floor is going to open up huge for Chris Middleton, right? He's going to get open shots. It's kind of like this big three when we were talking about Devin Booker. He's never had teammates like this. He's never had so many open shots like this because they're double teaming KD. They're blitzing pick and rolls. Chris Middleton's now going to see that. So he's not going to be the guy anymore getting double teamed. He's going to be the guy getting the ball off a slip on a pick and roll and having multiple options. So I think as long as he understands that, which he seems to be doing, and he continues to be healthy, he's going to really flourish in this offense because they can't guard all three of those guys.
Guys, I'm going to ask it because if you look at the number, it's best in the NBA, combining for about 57 average a game. Are they the best 1-2 punch? Like, I know the number says they are, but in the long term, Lou, yes or no?
I mean, the numbers are one thing, but if I'm closing my eyes and somebody is telling me pick two guys that you want to go score the basketball, I'm going to give the ball to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, or I'm going to give it to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. That's just how I am. I feel like those two 1-2 punches are very, very much more naturally for me. A Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown, and don't get me wrong, I really like Giannis and Dame as a 1-2 punch, but there's so many of them to say they're truly the best offensively.
Yeah, you look at the East Coast, a team that they're trying to catch, Brown and Tatum, who we're going to talk about next. They're unbelievable too. Anthony Davis and LeBron are unbelievable. So we always talk about these top fives or these duos. There's so many and there's so much talent now, but when they play like this and the fact that they've been doing it for such a short time is really impressive. And the sky's the limit for these two because it seems to be working. Again, they just have to lock in defensively.
And we are going to talk about Brown and Tatum right now. The Celtics playing one of the young, fun teams in the Orlando Magic. That's no problem. Jaylen Brown leads his team over the Magic 114-97. They are now 14-0 at home. That's terrifying. Paolo Banchero threw in a little 36 points, 10 rebounds on his own. But every single starter on this Boston squad was in double digits and, of course, led by Brown and Tatum. Chandler. I'm in superlatives today. Best starting five in the league. And I know the depth is their thing, but what about just the starting five?
Yeah, I love their starting five. I think they can do everything. They can defend. They can score. They're long. They can switch on the defensive end. They're good. And you hit it on the head. I worry a lot about this bench. They really go three deep when we're looking at their Hauser, Pritchard, and Horford. But so this team, if they're fully healthy, I love the Celtics. I feel like Tatum and Brown have really taken that next step. I feel like it's their time. Me and Lou picking them since, preseason. They play hard. They play the right way. And offensively, again, they're tough to guard. You add Porzingis now, who's flourishing in this offense, being able to pick and pop, knock down shots. Derek White has been such a great glue guy, kind of replacing everything that Marcus Smart did in the previous years. So starting five-wise, yeah, I'm putting them up against everybody. It's the bench that worries me. When you go 8 deep and only 3 guys off the bench, and it's those 3 guys, that's tough. That's tough in the postseason. But as far as starting five goes, I'm rolling. I think they are the best. You agree, Lou?
I agree.
That was easy. Okay, we'll move on. Jaylen Brown, look, they are 1A and 1B. I mean, you guys talk about it all the time, Tatum and Brown. But Tatum seems to get a lot more of the sort of the love or the outward love, I guess. But Brown's doing his own thing as well. He's averaging 22, 5, and 3. I feel like that's the perfect spot to be in where they talk about the other guy more. But he got paid. We all know it. Is this the best version of Jaylen Brown that you've seen, Lou?
Yeah, I like the pocket that he's in. if we remember, he started the season slow, struggling with his jump shot a little bit to get going on the season. And now he's figured out he has to play from the inside out. Like these clips are showing, he has to attack the rim, be a physical guard, put a lot of pressure on these guys inside the paint. And then that opens up your opportunity to shoot 3-pointers and play outside of the perimeter. And I think he's figured that out. He's bottled it up, and it's been very successful for this team. And down the stretch, when it comes playoff time, if that jump shot's not falling, you're going to be in trouble. But if you can put your back to the basket and constantly put pressure on defenses by playing closer to the rim, this is going to be great for the Boston Celtics in the long run. So for him to be able to figure that out a quarter of the season in, I think that's going to be great for them down the stretch.
Yeah, and when these two guys are efficient, like Lou said, they can score in so many different ways. But last night, they're both 50% from the field. I think Jaylen Brown was 5 of 8 from 3. Tatum was 4 of 6. So when the 3 ball is falling for these guys, you can't stop them. And so when they are efficient and they're getting good looks and they knock in their first 1 or 2 shots, it just opens up mightily for them. And that's when they can use their versatility. They can post up smaller guys. You can't switch on them. You can't put a big on them because they're going to beat you off the perimeter. So when the shots are falling for these guys, they really take that jump. And that goes for every scorer, but for these two in particular, because they're not exactly snipers, right? They're scorers. They're basketball players. But when they're going 4 of 6 or 5 of 7 from the 3-pointer, yeah, good luck.
Good luck. Shams, they've talked about the depth. They don't have any. Which means there's really no room for error if you lose anybody for any extended period of time. We've seen Porzingis, Holiday. Is there a plan in Boston? Are they going to maybe fortify their bench at all?
They need Lou to come off the bench is what they need.
Yes.
I think when you look at this team, you traded a couple first-round picks for Drew Holiday. They still have assets left over. And let me make this clear because I know last time it wasn't clear. The Celtics will be active in the trade market to pursue bench help. They want to see what's out there in the marketplace. They do have assets. So what can you get in the marketplace in terms of bench depth and seeing what you can secure near the end of your bench? Because as a starting 5, we know they're secured. I mean, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis. That front 5 is definitely, like Chandler and Lou talked about, that's arguably the best starting 5 in the league. And then you have Al Horford coming off your bench. Peyton Pritchard's been in and out of the rotation at different points. But this is a team that is definitely, top heavy, if you want to say, but these are good problems to have. Their first 6 are as elite as it comes. If you can get 7 and 8 to get, to a high level. But again, come playoff times, the rotations do shrink. They're going to get a lot more tighter. I mean, when you think about 6, 7, that's probably how deep you're going to go. Maybe 8 in the playoffs. So they're going to be aggressive and just seeing what could be out there for bench help.
The home court of it all, guys, is the fact that they have not lost a game in 14 tries at home is impressive to me. Chandler, take me through home court advantage and how big it is to have as strong a home court advantage as they seem to do right now.
Oh, it's everything. And when you can protect your home court, when you have that type of energy and that type of crowd, when I was playing, this was one of the toughest places to play. They are just loud. You get the whistle, that the team just fuels off that energy. And they are ruthless, man. They're screaming, ridiculous things at you. They're clearly showing that they don't lose at home. And to be able for them to get that home court advantage is huge because they're a solid road team as well. So if they can protect the home court, they're going to advance in the playoffs. It's not rocket science. So I think it's everything for them. And again, you see these other teams that are fighting for that 3rd and 4th spot in both conferences. Home court advantage is everything because it makes it that much easier to advance when the postseason does come.
What kind of things are they yelling at you guys?
Oh, racial.
Boston's not a very nice place, especially for people like me.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people, Lou? What are you talking about? Plus, you throw the accent in. It's just hell on earth. Okay, we got to talk about the Magic side of things. We've talked about the Magic a lot this season, and rightfully so. They've been fun to watch, and they put together a nice record. However, they've now been blown out by the Celtics back-to-back games, or 2 games. Is this a down-to-earth process here, Chandler? Are we about to see them sort of even out to what they will be, or do they have a shot at becoming something?
I mean, I think the future is bright. I think they have something with Wagner and with Paolo, and they got to continue to build, right? We heard Jamal Mosley last week. These guys play hard. They're bought in. There's no ego. They defend. So they're on the right path, right? And I think anybody with a brain that watches basketball, they know this team isn't a contender this year. They know they're most likely not going to even, get a top 4 seed, but they have gotten off to a hot start. And this is going to be a marathon with these guys, right? There's going to be a lot of learning curves. There's going to be a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, but to see the growth from last year to this year already with a 16-9 start is promising. And like I said last year, the city, Orlando, is buzzing. They're finally excited about this team again, right? And again, are the expectations to win it all? No, that's not fair. You're going to see them slide. You're going to see kind of reality set in, and hopefully they still can, make some noise in the playoffs. And that experience that they get this year, that's important. So go get to the playoffs, avoid a sweep, can compete, try to advance. But, to say that this team is a contender is just honestly not fair. But they're on the right path, and they have pieces for the future is bright in Orlando.
Future is bright, Lou. Is that a fair assessment, or are they about to come back down to what we think the Magic are?
The future is bright. They haven't done anything. They haven't proven anything to have the expectation level on them to say that they're a contender out of the East right now. When they prove it, and then they'll start getting a lot of teams' best shots. Right now, they're just playing really good basketball, and they should be happy about just continuing to build, continuing to progress, and live with the results and what comes at the end of the season.
But if I'm a team like Orlando and I really have expectations to advance, when you look, it's the Celtics, the Bucks, and the Sixers, right? Those are really the only two. Those are the only 3 good teams that are going to possibly advance. So if you can get to that 4 or 5, seed and kind of have that matchup with, the Heat or the Knicks or someone like that, then Orlando actually has a expectation to advance. But I don't even think they're looking like that. I don't even think I think Jamal is a realist. He knows what he has here. He knows it's going to be, a long game with this team. But to see, again, I think it's more impressive where they were last year to where they are now, instead of looking at where they're going this year and are they a contender.
I agree. I also think the fact that they're so young. Yeah.
And I think they're handling it well. You don't hear Coach Mose talking crazy and saying we should be this and we should be that. You don't see the players beating on their chests, demanding respect. They're doing their thing quietly in the right type of way for them to get the respect that they deserve.
Guys, we had another game. Pelicans squeaked one out. San Antonio. That was close. 146-110. CJ McCollum with 29. Brandon Ingram had 26, 4 and 3. Zion had 15 in 26 minutes. And Wembanyama, of course, his line 17, 13, 4 and 4 blocks. Look, Pelicans got blown out by the Lakers on national television in the in-season tournament. And since then, they've gone 4-0, Chandler. You cannot tell me that getting blown out on national television doesn't leave a mark.
It does, for sure. And at the end of the day, it is just one loss, right? But then you try and get over it. But that was a real piece of humble pie. And Zion's been dragged through the media, right? They're talking about no energy. He's overweight, everything that he's been going through. And that leaves a mark on you for sure. They seem to have taken that the right way and have grown from that, right? And they're hitting their rhythm. And to me, and to this team, it's all about health. And now it seems like they're fully healthy. They got CJ back, they got BI back. Zion looks to be, trending in the right direction. Even their bench with Herb and Murphy and Alvarado. This team fully loaded is very, very good, and they're deep and they can defend. And they have multiple ways they can score. They got 3 guys that are scoring over 20 points, so they have it all. It's going to come down to, can they be consistently healthy, and can they continue to trend? And like I just said, on the East Coast, they're the top 3 teams, right? The Celtics, Bucks, and Philly. Right. It's the opposite. It's the opposite for the West. When you look at the West, it's the OKC, Dallas. Who's the other one there?
Minnesota.
And Minnesota. So no one even believes in those top 3. So the West is wide open for a team like New Orleans to make some noise.
Lou, he just said no one believes in the top 3 in the West. Do you agree? I know. I get what you're saying. They're not perennial teams that we think of.
Yeah, it's new territory. A lot of these teams that's been on the bubble for a while, they're starting to turn the page. And so until they make a real splash in the postseason, it kind of seems like fool's gold. But there's a lot of teams that's playing really good basketball that weren't in our conversation at the beginning of the season.
Michelle, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Go what?
Philly, Boston, or Milwaukee, one of those three teams will win the East. Dallas, OKC, or Minnie, one of those three, none of those three teams will win the West.
Honestly, I would not take that bet. I'm 100% in agreement with you. Like, I'm not even going to touch it. But I think that's why this is fun, right? Is because the West is sort of this wide open no man's land. But if I say Pelicans to you as far as contenders, and they have a big superstar name in Zion, even though that goes up and down as far as people's idea of who he is, what's missing for them to be really considered one of the top dogs in the West, Chandler? What do they need?
I truly just think they need to be healthy, and they need to be healthy for a long margin of the season. Because when you look at these other teams, they're just better, right? Like the Denver Nuggets are a better team. You trust them more. They've done it in the postseason before. And when you look, the Pelicans have just been super inconsistent. They don't defend that well. They have guys that kind of get to the mid-range. They take tough long twos. They have guys in and out of the lineup. But when you look at them now and when they're fully loaded, they're a very deep team that is a tough out in the playoffs. So again, I like Phoenix. I like both teams in LA. I like Denver. The West is wide open for a team like New Orleans to make noise and to advance. But I just don't know if they have enough, to be honest with you.
Lou, can we talk Zion for 1 minute? I wonder sometimes if the noise around Zion is always just going to be there. And if that's the case, will we ever look at him as a top 10 player?
I mean, quite possibly. Still very young, still developing. This is the first time we've seen him this healthy throughout the course of his career. And he's averaging pretty solid numbers, to be considered that. The only thing I would say, for him to have the physical stature that he does, as much as he plays around the rim, even though he's efficient, so it's not a lot of rebounding opportunities, he got to get those rebounding numbers up for him to be considered one of the top 4 or 5s in this league. To be averaging 6 rebounds as a 4, as a 5 in this league, that just ain't going to cut it. He got to get back on that rim, got to get a little bit more aggressive around the rim and use his physical nature to increase that. But again, he's still a very young player, healthy. Who knows what he can do?
So young. Shams, we got to talk about it for a second because Chandler mentioned it. They've had dudes in and out of the lineup for various reasons. And yet we're still talking about them. They're still doing things. What's been the biggest reason for the success of this team?
Because the two guys they need to be healthy and to build chemistry, those guys have been healthy for the majority of the season. That's Zion Williamson and that's Brandon Ingram. And the biggest thing for the Pelicans is those guys consistently playing, building chemistry, because this core that they have in New Orleans, I mean, it is what it is. This is the group that they're going to go forward with. It's not like you can make a trade on the margin. It's not like you can make a trade with one of your core guys, because these are the guys you need to go out and win. And Zion Williamson, the numbers he's putting up, no matter what shape he's in, availability is always going to be his best ability, because he is an absolute monster when he's on the floor. No one does what he does when he's on the floor, because he's this 6'6" guy that can just be a dominant force at any given point, any given night. His playmaking ability, his athleticism. So I think, this year, James Borrego coming in as an assistant, he's opened up a lot offensively, and they've put the ball in Zion Williamson's hands to go to work, to play make. And CJ McCollum's back in the lineup now, and you're starting to see them get more shooting in the lineup. And so the group that's needed to win, that's theirs as far as talent. Now it's just about them building chemistry and all being available for play. Otherwise, this team, it's going to be what we've seen the last few years, which is just a trickle-off effect if they don't stay healthy.
The big variable. Wembanyama had a quote the other night because, the Spurs beat the Lakers. Just want to throw that in there. And after the game, he said, "This is what I'm addicted to. This is what I love," talking about winning, Chandler. I get it might be a minute. do you see a world in the next couple seasons where he can start to feel that good feeling?
Well, the fact that there's only been 4 wins this year, he's that excited for one, that's a good sign. And like Orlando, this team this year is not going to be measured by wins and losses, right? This team is looking for the future. This team's got an even brighter future than Orlando and some of these other teams we're talking about. So this year, it's all about the progression. It's all about the growth. Can they continue to see guys get better? Can they stay healthy? Can Wembanyama stay healthy through a full season? Can his body kind of take that toll of a long, strenuous NBA physical season, right? So when you look in the future of this team, yeah, I think they're going to continue to grow, right? Within the next, 3 to 5 years, they're going to get more wins every single season. They're going to continue to trend upward. So this year, again, continue to see guys play hard. Can they be coachable? Can you develop these young guys to become more dependent and solid players for the future? Because you're not going to look at the record, throw the record out. You're not making the playoffs. There's zero expectations this year. You don't even really care if you win this year. You just want to see these guys play the right way, develop a chemistry, and stay healthy. And the future will be very, very good.
Not going to see him win this year. Shams, he's officially the center. And I know Pop's been playing with all kinds of experiments and whatnot down in San Antonio. But as the center, what do you see in Wemby?
I see more spacing. I see more ability for him to do things. And I'm told the Spurs' visions for Victor Wembanyama is he can play 1 through 5 any given night, any given moment, any given play. And I think that's the versatility of Victor Wembanyama that we can see on the floor is his ability to ball handle, how versatile he is. Yeah, we've never seen anyone 7'5" that can put the ball on the floor the way he can at that size. And him bringing the ball up the court after a rebound, they want to see more of that. And I think we will see more of that as time goes on. And Jeremy Sohan, he's gone from playing the point guard to coming off the bench to now kind of this role where he has the ball in his hands sometimes, but it could change any given play where he's one of just several ball handlers they have with Trey Jones, with Devin Vassell, with Wemby. And so that's also been a change. This is a season, Michelle, of a lot of fluidity, a lot of change in San Antonio.
Yes, it's a chapter, you guys. I like to look at it as a chapter. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Shams, scoops, and the latest on Draymond Green when Run It Back returns.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Ooh, it is official. It is time for Shams Scoops. Look, last time we all hung out, we found out Draymond Green's suspension. It's indefinite. Shams, any news there?
Yeah, there's an update. I'm told Draymond Green has begun counseling, and people around the Warriors, people around Draymond Green, they see that there's a level of understanding and really grasping that there's a process that he's going to go through and undergo to make sure that he's going to return under a full capacity. He's been feeling bad about what transpired, and I'm told the expectation is that Green will remain sidelined via suspension for at least the next 3 to 4 weeks, and that means that his suspension would stretch at least approximately 12 games. And at that point, making sure that when he's back, he is actually back. There's not going to be a blip. There's not going to be a reoccurrence of any more from Draymond Green. And I think this process, from what I'm told, it'll also consist of regular check-ins with the Warriors, with the league, as him, the team, his agent Rich Paul, the league work together on his return process. But it's going to be at least the next few weeks for Draymond Green.
Chandler, what do you think about it? I mean, I heard Shaq the other day talking about, this is just Draymond. This is how Draymond is. But then he is getting some sort of help. What do you think?
Well, I think he's taken the proper measures to get better, right? He's starting therapy, and the growth of him becoming a better person is hopefully on his way. And now, when he comes back, is he going to be fully changed, or is he going to, still have that temper and get tossed or get a tech, right away? I guess we'll wait and see. But I'm happy that he's taken the proper steps because, again, we say this isn't about basketball anymore. This is about him becoming a better person. Because if this lingers into his personal life, or this lingers off the court, then he's looking at some real issues. So he's got to get this under control. This is more important than the NBA. Or this is more important than any game or fine. He's got to get better as a human being and as a person, and he seems to be taking all the right measures to get there. So hopefully it's not just a PR stunt, and hopefully he's actually bettering himself during this time.
Shams, we're going to talk Bradley Beal here. I can't believe I'm about to ask you this again, but a different injury, this time against the Knicks. What can you tell us about his status?
Nasty right ankle sprain. It looked really bad. Good news for Bradley Beal's X-rays, MRI showed no fracture in his ankle, but I'm told he's going to be out at least likely a few weeks, at least 3 weeks for Bradley Beal, that he'll be sidelined. He's only played 6 games this season. It's just another setback. He's dealt with back issues we've talked about. There's been nerve issues with his back, and now there's this ankle issue. The Suns' big three just got back on the floor last Wednesday. They were playing in their second game. They haven't even played 2 full games together as a big three with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. And now Bradley Beal is going to be out at least the next 3 weeks potentially. So it's a tough setback for Bradley Beal, and he's going to have to rehab just another injury.
It's a growing list, Chandler. I mean, if you're Bradley Beal, if you're the team, how do you deal with this list that continues to get longer, not shorter?
Well, this is just brutal, right? Because this is a freak injury. And when you work and you grind so hard just to put yourself in the situation to get back, and then something like this happens where it's just completely out of your control and you land on, a guy's foot, and now you have to deal with that. Now it's a separate kind of agenda that you have to take. And I know he's feeling the pressure and the expectations, and think about how much we all want to see this big three together. And it sucks because the timing of it, as a team, they need to get these reps that are valuable. This is ugly. Also, he jumped so high on his jump shot. It's like the worst guy for that happened to. And he made the shot, but it's tough because you grind, you go through all this rehab, all this stuff, and then you're finally back, all the excitement, and then something completely random happens like this. So it takes a toll on you mentally. Brad's a strong dude. He's going to get back from this, but as a fan, we want to see this big three, right? We want to see how good they can be. We talk about the West is wide open. This is probably my favorite team when healthy, if they can get healthy, which seems like they're not going to for a long time, to be there at the end and contend. So I feel for the dude, and hopefully he can get back on the floor soon. But this is a tough blow after someone going through all this rehab for his back to have this happen to him.
Yeah, and the other thing, Lou, is I always wonder, as fans, we look at some players as just being injury prone. Unfortunately, they have bad luck, right? They get the bug. And I wonder, as a team, when he does slowly make his way back from this injury, how cautious do you have to be?
I don't know if you'll be cautious with an ankle injury, especially if it's like a high ankle sprain or something like that. Once he's available to play again, those injuries are usually not something that's going to be reoccurring. That's something that you're going to re-aggravate. When you're over an ankle sprain or a high ankle sprain, it's usually over and done with by the time you're back on the basketball court. And listen, once he's back, we're talking about another month from now, 3 weeks to a month from now. I don't think they have the luxury of waiting. I think they got to start really juicing this group up and get them going to the group that they're going to need to be in the postseason. So cautious. I don't know if they go on the side of that. I think they just put him out there and play the regular minutes that he was capable of playing. Look, he was out with a back injury. He was playing, upwards of 25 to 30 minutes. So I don't see that being an issue when he comes back.
Shams, we also have a lot of injuries coming out of Cleveland. Like, it seems something bad is going on in the air up there. What's the latest with the Cavs?
2 significant injuries. One, Darius Garland, their star guard, he's going to be out at least 4 weeks. He's got a fractured jaw. Then Evan Mobley, their big man, he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with knee surgery. Ooh. So these are 2 key players that are going to be gone for significant periods of time. They had just won 9 of 12 games on a recent stretch, and then they lose 3 in a row. Then they won Saturday night. So that's a positive that they at least won. But the Donovan Mitchell side of all of this, he's going to be a topic. He's definitely a topic among teams around the league this year and next season left on his contract. And the Cavaliers know this about Donovan Mitchell. He wants to win. He wants to win big. He wants to compete for a championship. And this team right now is really in that playoff play-in race. And if they do drop out, I think a lot of teams are going to be looking into the Cavs. And now this is a team that's been hovering around 500. We're just past the 25-game mark. And so I think these are just 2 significant injuries for them that they'll have to deal with.
Man, those are big ones. And I'm wondering, Chandler, if, we always hear about the Donovan Mitchell of it all. He wanted to be a Knick. These injuries are probably not helping whatever that situation is in Cleveland. Do you think something comes out of that? Do we hear more murmurs?
I think so. I think that we're going to continue to hear these rumors of, are they moving him? He's unhappy. Because there's something going on here, right? There's a disconnect. You don't just take this kind of fall off from last year, getting home court advantage. I understand they lost to the Knicks in the first round, but this is a great young team with a core that I would think would want to continue to grow together. When you look at Mobley and Garland and Donovan and Karras and Jared Allen, they have the talent, they have the pieces, and they can continue to get better. they have the coach. I think JV Bickerstaff is the guy for this job. But yeah, when your main guy, Donovan Mitchell, you hear all this stuff and there's murmurs how he wants out and it's leaking into the locker room. There's issues with him. And then on top of that, now your other two best players are out. It feels like the world's coming down on you. So this is a team that I think had high expectations that we thought would make that jump after last season. And they've gone the other way, which usually results in sort of move. So if I'm them, I'm listening because I don't want to give him the option just to leave and walk and get nothing for him when you can probably get a boatload for him right now.
I tell you what, though, Chandler, I'm listening, but I'm not hitting the panic button yet. This is a team that's my dog's jumping on me right now. But this is a team that's this is a team that's two and a half games out of the 4th spot, man. And so even though they're sitting at 8, they put a good week together, put a couple of good 2 weeks together. They put themselves in a pretty competitive spot. And so, am I listening? Yes. If I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers and I'm looking at all the turmoil that we're going through, of course I'm listening to offers because, like Chandler said, I may be able to get a boatload of assets for him. But at the same time, I'm still trying to compete until that day. And so, they're in a tricky spot.
The only problem is they now have to do that without Garland and Mobley, that's a tall task.
But you still got Donovan Mitchell. You still got a shot.
Shams, the world awaits. The news will break. We will see you tomorrow, bright and early. But we're going to stick around right now. I know. I'm spitting bars, Lou. No,
I love that. Yeah. Stand on it.
That man has a family. Here we go. Taylor Horton Tucker. I just like saying 3 names. I'm sorry. Oh.
Dang, man.
Ooh.
How you been doing in Utah, man? He's like a household name with the Lake Show.
Yeah, I like this guy in LA. I haven't heard much from him this year.
Man.
Well,
it's quiet out in Utah.
Part of that, isn't it? Christian Brown. Oh. Well. There you go, Chandler.
I like it.
There you go, Chandler.
There you go, Chandler.
There you go, Chandler.
Represent.
Of course it's on. Of course it's on a point guard, but you know what? We'll take it.
It's fine.
Hey, you gotta take what you can get, man.
It's a feel good moment. Leave him alone. That's
how you do it.
That's stupid.
Hey, Taylor, that's it right there.
Hey,
the
one before didn't look like that.
No, it didn't. And then the face. Ooh.
That's just a tough spot. The kid is he's in the charge circle. He's late. He had no business doing. Oh,
yeah.
That is tough.
He was trying to do the right thing.
Man, how about this moment? Oh no.
That's a bad look. The older you get, plays like this just sting, man.
And the wow. I kind of love this one.
The Mutombo finger after definitely was some salt in the wound.
Really was. It's almost rude, really. And I like it.
That's probably never happened to Chris Paul before.
Respect. Patrick Williams.
Oh. Okay. Hey, now I like that.
All right.
Okay.
You know what? This kid.
Peaceful.
I thought this kid would be an all-star by now, and he shows me things like this that make me still want to believe. Little in and out.
It's a great story, Chandler. Don't give up yet.
They put too many Kawhi comparisons on him, man. He got to be himself.
I thought we'd be seeing this every single night from this dude.
Well, I mean, that's a weird situation too. That's another one. Jalen Williams.
Oh, now that's a play right there. I like that young fella. Behind the
woo.
He's one of
he knows the scouting part. They say Jokic doesn't jump. Just attack the rim. That's on the scout. They say he don't block shots. Attack the rim. He ain't gonna block it.
Big body.
Yeah, Zubac.
Big body.
Zucci Mane.
Wait, what?
Zucci Mane.
No, Zudacris. I like Zudacris.
Yeah, Zudacris. Yeah, Zoo.
Oh.
Get off that rim, Zoo. Get off that rim.
Oh, it's tough when the guy trying to block the shot falls down afterwards, too. It makes it that much worse.
Look, Zoo, my young fella, he don't even know how to celebrate. Look at him.
It's just very odd. All right, I don't hate it. I'll play that one over and over again. We will take a quick break here. When we come back, more basketball on Run It Back.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Well, the Jordan Poole experience is the gift that keeps on giving, guys. I don't even know why we're going to attempt to try and figure out what Jordan Poole's thinking in this moment, but we are. We are going to try to jump into his mind and figure out what in the hell is going on.
Oh, you know, to me, that look like a ball boy problem, man. That's a wet spot. What you got, Chandler? That's a wet spot to me, man.
God, that looks like it could have been a problem.
Yeah, this one's not his fault. Can you imagine if he did this on purpose, messing around? No, this is he slipped.
This is a ball boy thing, man. Ball boy was supposed to get that wet spot up. I hated him because now we're talking about anybody else. This is nothing.
That's the problem.
But it's funny. Add it to his reel.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get hurt. He's lucky he didn't get hurt here. This could have been bad.
It could have been actually. Could have been bad. How about that?
Oh,
you
my.
Like that?
The ball boy can't help that one.
He then does some shit like this after we get his back.
What is that?
I mean,
you're a long way from San Francisco, buddy.
By the way, this is not.
This is a
product. 4-point game. Why?
It's a product of playing with Steph Curry the last couple of years, where you think you can take and make these type of shots.
I know, but
how much time is on the clock? I'm wondering.
It's.
Is this a 2-for-1? Nah, it's 20 seconds on the clock. Nah, it's not a 2-for-1.
It's a
even if you did play with Steph Curry that long, at some point, don't you realize this is not working? I gotta stop. It's delusional.
Nah, I mean, he won a championship playing that style of basketball. It's in there. It's part of the process now.
I mean,
that just can't be the shot that the coach wanted when they drew that play up.
That's why I was looking to see, was it a 2-for-1 situation? If it was 2-for-1, you'll get a crazy shot from a 2-for-1 every now and then. But no, it was 20 seconds on that clock.
Add it to his reel. That reel is getting fun. Taking a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up.
Well, I mean, the Detroit Pistons are having a pretty awful year. They've lost 23 in a row. They're not close games. They're blowouts. Giannis is hanging out with his kids on the bench. Guys, I like to think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not even going to ask about a panic button. We're past that. What do you do here? Do you blow this whole thing up? And even so.
Look, these guys got to take some pride. 23 straight losses. A lot of them being blowouts, consecutive blowouts. Some things coaches can't get you through. This is an effort thing. This is a pride thing. He can get you to a point, but to constantly getting blown out, these guys got to take some pride, and they got to take some pride in what's going on.
Yeah, this isn't anything that's going to be fixable this year. They have guys that don't belong in the NBA. They're brutal, and I know they're missing some vets, but this team, again, have some pride. Go out there and compete. 2-24 or 23, whatever they are, is absurd.
God, that's demoralizing. Kind of feel bad after a while. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a good night.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back,